The effect of early direct sales on the rest of your marketing channels, why you shouldn't fear crowded markets, and the importance of creating a best-in-class product. That and more on this episode of Advertising Influencers.
Advertising Influencers. Conversations with today's top-tier marketers from Silicon Valley and beyond. Powered by Instapage, the most powerful landing page solution.
Hello. Hope you're doing very well whenever and wherever you are listening. My name is Ander, marketing educator at Instapage, and welcome to this episode of Advertising Influencers, where we speak with the best and brightest digital marketers and advertisers in the industry today. We had a great last episode with Jordan Crawford, who is the founder over at Scout, a company that is revolutionizing and digitizing postcard marketing. Highly recommend you take a listen to that when you get a chance. But first, today's episode is an especially special one because it also coincides with a new integration we're launching here at Instapage. We're launching an integration with ConvertKit, an email marketing solution specifically designed for content creators, so podcasters, bloggers, etc. And the CEO of ConvertKit is joining us for this episode. His name is Nathan Barry. He's also the founder of the company and started ConvertKit in Boise, Idaho in 2013, and the product has been growing ever since. His initial background was in UX and UI, but it turned him into a writer when he published his first book on designing mobile applications. And after dramatically exceeding his goals and expectations, he published another book on designing web applications and discovered this specific need for an email marketing solution specifically for publishers and digital content creators. ConvertKit also put on an awesome conference just about a month ago in Boise, Idaho, that I was lucky enough to attend with the guy who manages all of our strategic partnerships in Instapage, Will. Anyway, Nathan's got a ton to say. Really excited to talk to him, excited to share this conversation with you. So without further ado, let's go say hello. Well, I guess it would be just under a month ago now, I was lucky enough to attend an awesome conference in Boise, Idaho. And it was the Craft and Commerce Conference put on by ConvertKit, who we just launched an integration with. We're super happy to have that integration here at Instapage, and also super happy to be speaking to the CEO and founder of ConvertKit right now, Nathan Barry. Nathan, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing at ConvertKit, and excellent job on the conference, by the way. So I think that the best place to start, even though I explained a bit in the introduction to this episode what ConvertKit is, a little bit about our integration, maybe we can hear it in your words. It'll probably sound a little bit better coming from you.
Yeah, so ConvertKit's an email marketing service for creators, really, of all kinds. So that could be people who are bloggers, podcasters, content creators, or even SaaS companies, who are finding a lot of value in inbound marketing. So running their own podcasts or their own blogs to drive a lot of growth. So ConvertKit's built specifically for those content creators. And we're a small team, about 27 people now, I guess. Self-funded company. And
yeah, you guys are growing real quickly.
Yeah, it's always fun to have the kind of growth curve that we have right now.
Yeah, you've got Barrett Brooks there, formerly at Fizzle, really great guy, and really enjoyed talking with everybody on your team. You guys are doing really, really great work. So, Nathan, what's the kind of nutshell, the 60-second version or whatever of your professional journey that led you to creating ConvertKit, that inspired this idea?
Yeah, so my background's in software design. So I worked as a UI, UX designer, first for web applications and then got into designing iOS applications. And somewhere in that process, all my friends were asking me, hey, how do you design great iOS applications? And so I ended up writing a book about that and launched it, just self-published it, launched it to a tiny audience that I had built up of a little pre-launch list of about 800 people. And my goal was to do $10,000 in sales from the book in like the entire lifetime. If I could do that over like 2 or 3 years, that'd be amazing. Because I was trying to get like more consulting gigs and everything. It ended up doing $12,000 in sales in the first 24 hours. And then I went, wow, oh boy, there's something to this whole audience thing. So then I ended up writing another book called The Designing Web Applications that, launched to a now bigger audience, to double the revenue. And all throughout this time, like email marketing was driving all of these conversions. And so I was learning these best practices and I'd go to implement them in MailChimp. And it was just like, wait, why do I have to fight with this tool just to implement a best practice, like a follow-up sequence or a content upgrade or all these other things? And so then I thought, okay, my background's in design. It's time to build an email marketing product with the best practices built in by default. Not trying to serve like all of small business, but trying to serve all of these content creators. And so that's how ConvertKit was born.
And there's so many. Yeah, that's really cool. You guys do some interesting things with your product in the way that you direct leads when they come from a third-party platform like Instapage or whatever. That's a bit different than MailChimp. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so when leads come in from another platform, instead of just getting dropped into like a generic list, like what would happen in MailChimp, what happens is they either go into a form or a tag. And so from the very beginning, that subscriber is always tied to the source that they came from. So without it really doing any extra work, you can always tie them back to that one Instapage landing page or that particular campaign that you did. And you never run into the problems of duplicate subscribers or having a bunch of clunky lists because ConvertKit's set up to be subscriber centric. And so with that, you just have one subscriber and all their tags and all their attributes on them. If they opt into multiple things, that all gets added to their one profile. So it ends up being really easy to set up and really, really powerful at the same time.
Really, really cool. So when you first launched ConvertKit, you came up with this idea, you got the product built, you launched it, and it's been a little while since then. But at the time, what was your marketing philosophy, so to speak? And how has that evolved in the time that you have been growing ConvertKit as CEO?
Yeah, so I started out with a big focus on content marketing. And because content marketing that's how I'd sold all of my books and courses before. And so I think I was pretty good at it, but it didn't work for growing the SaaS company. And the reason for that is getting people to switch email tools is a big deal, especially getting people to switch to a brand new product.
Yeah, I mean, email's especially sticky. I mean, once you're using one, switching to another one can be a challenge.
Right. So we didn't have that traction. So using content marketing when you had no traction for a tough sell like that was challenging. And so we really had trouble getting traction for quite a while until we changed, because early on it was like email marketing for people who have similar problems to Nathan, it was not good messaging. And so later on we made a couple of changes, and this was about 1.5 years or 2 years in. First was we narrowed down the messaging. So we narrowed it down to email marketing for professional bloggers. And so, we've since expanded that to include all creators, but early on by picking that specific niche, we were able to let people know, hey, this is built exactly for you. And then we knew who to go after and who to target. The second thing that we did is we started direct sales. So by doing direct sales, by reaching out to these bloggers, offering to migrate them over for free and have all these conversations, then we started to get that initial pool of a couple hundred customers and more that drove like the infamous word of mouth. Everyone's like, hey, how'd you grow? And like, oh, word of mouth. And you're like, oh, why didn't I try that? Why didn't I just grow my product by word of mouth? But that's because it's hard. Yeah. You can't grow a product that doesn't exist yet or that doesn't have customers.
Right.
And so we found that you could kind of hack that whole process by going out and hunting down these customers, selling them, doing all the hard work that doesn't scale to get them to switch over. And then as you did that, the word of mouth would start to kick in. And so it took us a long time to get that traction, but the direct sales really kicked into other things. And then it got the word of mouth going, got our affiliate program going. And then it also got the influence going where we could start to say, start to point to these bigger name customers and say, well, Pat Flynn is using us, or Chris Gillibo, or Tim Ferriss, or people like that. And then you'd say like, oh, okay, well, if it's good enough for them, then it's good enough for me. And, then it made it a lot easier for people to switch.
That's interesting that you bring that up. What is the, everyone talks about the Tim Ferriss effect, and it's something that actually has not come up yet on this podcast, but I'd love to know what that effect is. What was the effect when he started talking about your product?
He still doesn't talk about it very much. He's been on the platform for about 8 months, and we're actually only recently allowed to talk about it and say that he's on the platform.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he was very particular about that. He wanted to make sure it was a product that they could know and trust before we were able to share that. And so it was only maybe in the last month or so or 2 months that we were able to say, like, publicly list him in the customer list. So hopefully soon he'll start talking about it as well. And then we'll get to find out what that effect is.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Really excited to see what comes of that. Now, email marketing and email marketing products, it's obviously not a small space. I mean, I can think of like 5 or 6 different products off the top of my head, including ConvertKit, and there are obviously many more beyond that. What are some of the unique challenges that founders or marketers or marketing teams face when marketing an email marketing product? And I'm especially curious how ConvertKit has overcome those challenges. And you talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to get some more detail.
Yeah, so you're definitely right that there's a couple of other competitors out there. I think you and I could sit here and name off like probably 25 major email marketing companies that have over, I don't know, call it 10 million a year in revenue. And like the big ones like MailChimp and others are like 400 million a year.
Right. And there are probably like 100 companies that we have never heard of and never will hear of,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very crowded space. And when I look at what to go into, I would never go into a space again that wasn't crowded.
Interesting.
Because I look at the crowded space and I just see opportunity. Because it's like, I'm never having to convince someone that, hey, you need email marketing or that email marketing is the next big thing. Because they get that. These are all people who have, are making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year off email marketing. So I have no convincing to do. I just need to convince them that my product is better for them than MailChimp is. And that's a sell I can make all day long. So one thing that helps there a lot is if you see a competitor that has a lot of market share. So like MailChimp has 8 million customers. Then you have to realize that they're probably not serving all of those customers equally well. So if you can find a subset or like a niche within their customer base that they're not serving as well because they've had to make their product generic in order to serve, millions of customers, then we find that niche like bloggers. MailChimp, well, it was, popular for a lot of bloggers. It's not built for them. It's built for more of the generic small business. And so we're able to kind of carve off a subset of their customers, serve them way better than MailChimp can. And then we're able to, build up we're at 9 million a year in revenue now off of that tiny little subset. And so then we can start to expand from there. So I'd say absolutely go after a crowded market and then just pick your niche within that, get a ton of traction and then expand from there.
And the other thing that going after a crowded market does is it's clearly a validated space. I mean, you're not doing something that is completely, off the wall, unheard of, no one's ever considered before in terms of, the core, what the product does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that validation is worth a ton because imagine spending like a year just trying to get that very like initial traction and you just don't even know if anyone wants to buy the thing that you're going after. But yeah, email marketing or, any of these spaces. I'm sure it's the same with landing pages and other things. It's like, yeah, marketers need landing pages. There's no question about it. So then you don't have to worry about the core idea. You just have to worry about doing it better than, the prominent competition. And often that's not hard to do. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's a very achievable thing to do.
Yeah, and one of the other things I really respect about what you guys are doing at ConvertKit, and this is actually something that you mentioned at the conference a few weeks ago when you were doing your keynote presentation there, is the idea of the best-in-breed solutions. And ConvertKit certainly falls into that category for professional bloggers and for professional content creators. And we would like to think at Instapage that ours falls into that category for landing page creation and optimization. So what are some more of your thoughts on the best-in-breed solution versus that one single full stack product, like maybe like a HubSpot or something like that?
Yeah, so we all see these products that are trying to be all things to all people. And there's a couple of things that you'll notice in common about the successful products that do that. And the first thing is they tend to be very expensive. They tend to be sold with a high-end like enterprise sales team. And they tend to have a lot of lock-in. Like the only way to sign up is with an annual contract or things like that. And the reason is because they get to the point where they are no longer executing well on product. And so they're not retaining customers through a great product and a great experience. They're retaining customers through like a sunk cost fallacy. Or the person who is buying the product is different from the person who's using it, say in a larger organization. And so one person buys, say, Infusionsoft or HubSpot, and then someone else is like, has to use this. And they're like, oh, I would have never bought this thing. But their opinion doesn't matter in the purchasing decision. Mm-hmm. And so then when that person wants to cancel or wants to switch out of it, well, there's a year contract or there's a many $1,000s setup fee that's already been paid. And so then the sunk costs are there. And so it's like, let's just figure this out, even though it's a pain. Mm-hmm. So when you look at these monolithic companies that like try to do everything and be all things to all people, they just don't execute on that experience well. Mm-hmm. And so our approach, and maybe you can contrast it to like an Infusionsoft or something like that, which has, they have a course platform, they've got e-commerce, they have email, they have a CRM. I don't know if they have landing pages, but it wouldn't surprise me, and all these things. Uh-huh. And our approach instead is like, look, we could try to do all of that, but we wouldn't do it well. And they don't do it well. Mm-hmm. And so instead, I want to be absolutely the best at email marketing. And then I want to integrate with like Samcart and Gumroad and WooCommerce and Shopify, who are fantastic at commerce. And then basically where we ended up when we first started talking with you guys, like, what was that, maybe 6 months ago or so, of like, are we going to be the best at landing pages? No, because we're busy being the best at email marketing. And so then like...
Well, you do have a landing page builder, to be fair.
We do, but we're trying to make that really easy for someone who wants like simple lead capture,
Sure.
Hey, I'm on a podcast, here's, go here to get the free download, right? That's something that you want to spin up really quickly to capture email addresses. But like building out a true landing page or sales page, that's not where we want to go. And so then we started this quest to find out, okay, who's the best at that? And trust me, I'm a little picky when it comes to user experience. And so that's why I reached out to the fine folks at Instapage and, because it's like, okay, we want to be the best in core areas and then partner with everyone outside of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. Really, really appreciate that. And in the context of everything we're talking about, where is marketing headed? What is the future of marketing? And I'm especially curious how ConvertKit is preparing for this future, as well as how other marketers can prepare for this future as well.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big question, but I think it's headed in a pretty clear direction of just teaching and building trust is always the most effective thing. So whatever you can do to grab that attention and, like Seth Godin would talk about permission marketing. And, so you're getting not only someone's attention, but their permission. And that comes in the form of, the podcasts and the blogs and that training that's being shared for free. Because that goes to build the trust. And then, like I was just looking at our numbers for ConvertKit, we've got an email list of 80,000 people who have all said, hey, will you teach me about this online marketing stuff? And we're like, yeah, we'd be happy to. And so then that builds the trust. And then when we say, hey, we have this product to sell, they're like, yeah, it looks great. Let's sign up. So I don't think that marketing is going in some like amazing revolutionary new area. I think it's just going to be more of keep delivering value for free. People will reward you with that, with their attention. And then when you have that attention, you are able to promote products.
Awesome. Love that thinking. Completely agree. And with that thinking, I'm very excited to see where you guys are going to continue to grow and serve professional content creators all over the world and in all kinds of different spaces, different niches. It's really, really cool to see what's going on over there. Nathan, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm not sure if we got a chance to connect at the conference, but awesome talking to you. Awesome connecting with you digitally today. If people want to check out ConvertKit, they want to check out our integration, what's a good way for them to do that?
Yeah, so they should go to ConvertKit.com. There's the integrations page linked to from there that will have more details on the integration. And then ConvertKit.com/automation is going to have all of the details that we announced at the conference. It's a lot of really fun stuff, kind of reimagining the product from the ground up and setting the stage for a lot of like the future of email marketing. So we're excited about that. ConvertKit.com/automation.
Awesome. Well, once again, Nathan, thank you for all your hard work. Thanks for putting on that great conference a few weeks ago. And thanks for working with us on this integration. Once again, really appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Awesome insight from Nathan, especially about approaching a crowded market and why it's not something to be afraid of, but actually something to appreciate. In fact, there's a lot of people who say that Apple took that approach with the personal computer. A lot of people have Macs now. Not so many people had them when PCs were incredibly popular. Not to say they aren't now, but back in the 90s. And Apple was really able to take certain things like the Palm Pilot and make it into a smart device, a mobile device that is obviously a huge part of our lives today, both in our personal lives and our lives as marketers. As always, you can find the show notes to this episode as well as a transcript on our website at instapage.com/podcast. And while you're there, feel free to check out any of the other resources that you see. There's lots to look at, including webinars hosted by yours truly, our blog that has awesome content publishing almost every single day, and some really awesome videos on marketing. Love to see you there. Love to hear from you as well. My name is Ander. My email address is ander@instapage.com. And you can reach out to the rest of our team as well on social media. We are on all of the social networking platforms, especially would love to hear from you on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. All right, my fellow marketers, I am out for now. My name is Ander, and this is Advertising Influencers. Cheers to your future success, and cheers to better marketing. I will talk to you soon.
Advertising Influencers. Conversations with today's top-tier marketers from Silicon Valley and beyond. Powered by Instapage, the most powerful landing page solution.